Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show for Friday, November 19th, 2021. Welcome to another eBay video. Today I'm going to be talking more about eBay concierge and contacting eBay when you have a problem. Some interesting things transpired this week, necessitating me to call eBay or contact eBay. I think you guys will find that interesting. I'm also going to do some eBay updates and talk about your comments, questions, and concerns. So let's jump right into your comments, questions, and concerns. Rubber Wilbur asked a question. Joe, could you give us an update on what the first Ford hubcap you sold on eBay was? We all struck out on that contest, and I don't think anyone expects you to find a winner after we didn't get the answer in the first week. I'm just curious. That's a very good question, Rubber Wilbur, and I'm going to answer it now. And I might just ask it again as a trivia question in about 5 years. The answer was a Ford Aerostar, which is a Ford minivan that was out from 1986 to 1994. Very, very popular selling minivan made by Ford, and that was my first eBay sale. Good question there, Rubber Wilbur. Dennis Copper wrote in a comment. He was replying to something that Ryan Glazer had said, and Dennis said, "You have to look at the bigger picture for everyone. We're all in this together. All bad buyers on eBay return merchandise back to the good sellers no matter what. It will keep them honest and help the community. Nobody should ever get free stuff, even if it returns on my dime." What Dennis was talking about, I want to make this clear. Something I touched on last week. If you as a seller get a return and you have to pay the shipping back, let's say somebody files a false item not as described return, please, I implore you to pay the shipping back. You need your item back so you can resell it. You don't need to be giving the buyer a free item. It only encourages more scamming. Dennis Copper hit the nail on the head here, and later in the video, I got a good little story to tell you about this and the reason why I contacted eBay midweek. Spanky McAllister wrote, "Just take 50% off the refund if someone returns something for no reason. They learn their lesson quick." Well, I see your point, Spanky, but the problem is, it's been my experience that when I do this, the buyers always open a case with eBay demanding the other 50% of their money back, and eBay always gives it to them. It has never failed every time. But it's not coming out of our pockets, right? Ryan Glazer wrote on the same topic, "You already have tools available at your disposal, and you can and should deduct 50% from their refund and nothing less. You need to check the boxes that the buyer sent the item back different than as described, and eBay will protect you and also remove any unfavorable feedback as long as you offer 30-day returns and are top rated, or offer free returns. If a buyer falsely claims item not as described, then I claim RNAD, return not as described. Fight fire with fire. You have to play hardball with frivolous return abuse. Use your tools. eBay will have your back. If you cave, then eBay will just believe the buyer that you actually sent the item not as described." Yes, I agree also with what Ryan Glazer has just said. It's basically the same thing Dennis said. I'm sure all of you have received false item not as described returns. And if you're a top-rated seller and offer 30-day returns like I do, you will be protected. The only fly in the ointment that I can see is the buyer can still leave you negative feedback. However, in order to get it removed, you have to go through the trouble of contacting eBay customer service, and then they will remove it. More about that, as I said, later on. Chris Tiger wrote, "Hi Joe, do not forget that eBay is a platform from which we sellers rent a space. We pay a lot of money for this service, and for that we're treated like the fifth wheel on a car. We have no voice, and we're humiliated for that, and they treat us as if we do not exist. And on top, they promote all these scammers on eBay and allow them to rob us of our hard-earned money." Chris, who are you referring to about the scammers on eBay? Are you referring to like the big box China sellers? Because that's what I think you might be trying to touch on. It has been stated publicly on Facebook groups that it is a consensus of sellers that people feel that these big box China sellers are allowed to circumvent eBay rules where regular sellers like you and me are not. I think many of you guys will concur with this, and it's something that really does need to be looked at. But like the old saying goes, don't hold your breath. ZXC, Gary wrote, "I had a buyer open up a defective / not working item case saying it was defective. I also said absolutely no returns. After 3 business days, I called eBay and the customer service rep closed the case in my favor with no refund to the buyer. That's how all wrongful snag cases should be handled. It tells the buyer that eBay isn't going to put up with abusing the returns process like my buyer did. I think eBay should adopt Amazon's policy of letting the seller decide if he wants to pay for the return shipping. That would eliminate abusing the returns process. The item was a $10 3.5-inch hard drive with $6 shipping, so it would cost him at least $9.30 to return it, since it weighs just over a pound." Gary continues to say, "Joe, I've had good luck with the Filipino reps because often they're lenient with removing feedback and closing wrongful snag cases. However, the case has to be fairly simple for them to understand. Even on weekends, when I'm most likely to get the Filipino reps, I get my simple problems solved. Maybe it's not so bad not to have concierge." Gary, I go out of my way not to call eBay or contact them in any way on the weekends. I don't want to be transferred overseas. I myself am very patient, and I'll gladly wait for Monday afternoon to contact eBay because I know my case will be handled by somebody here in the US. But Gary and everybody else, if it's working for you, you stick with it. I support you as long as you are able to get the job done. The Grateful Hippie wrote, "Hi Joe, about the zero feedback sellers causing trouble. I really feel eBay needs to bring back negative feedback for buyers and let sellers restrict their listings to buyers having 1 positive feedback and up. Perhaps it could be a top-rated seller perk." Grateful Hippie, that will never happen. I guarantee you that. Now, I know, let's just say for the argument's sake, it did happen. Let's say eBay gave sellers the chance to block people with zero feedback. I know a lot of sellers would adopt that policy, and it would stop a lot of honest people from cutting their teeth on eBay. Now, granted, I'll be the first to admit that I do get a preponderance of trouble with people who join eBay to buy my item because they don't read the listing first. I don't disagree with you at all. But there's a lot of honest ones that are just starting out that Google an auto part or a baseball card or whatever, see the item, and really want to make the purchase on eBay. So there are a lot of good ones out there. And as far as the leaving negative feedback for bad buyers, oh my God, I would love that. And I think it should be allowed in certain cases, especially when the buyer does not pay. There is no reason that eBay should not let a seller neg a buyer who doesn't pay. But I do understand why they won't let us neg buyers who do pay, because years ago, a lot of sellers abused the privilege. My friend and I used to Mac eBay back in the early days, the early 2000s, because we each found a certain seller who was unbelievably abusive. This person, I'm even going to tell you what they sold. I've talked about this person so many times. I've never unmasked them. I've never said who they were, and I don't plan on it, even though they've been booted off eBay. But what they sold was, I believe, called costume jewelry. It was some kind of jewelry. And they would get so many negative feedbacks about the quality of the jewelry, saying it wasn't the real thing, or it turned their finger green, or all kinds of stuff. And anytime a buyer left them negative feedback, even if it was totally deserved, this seller would leave the buyer unfair negative feedback and say horrible, nasty things, calling them child molesters, wife beaters, and other nasty things that I won't even mention here on my video. But I do understand why eBay has to adopt this policy, because there are some really nasty sellers out there. Not a lot, but the ones who were doing it were prolific. And the person I'm referring to had their feedback up against these poor people many, many years, from 99 till approximately, I'd say, 2010. All those years it was up. It was just awful, awful stuff. So also some eBay executives who I know have said, basically, read my lips, we will never again allow sellers to neg buyers for any reason. This is what I've been told, and this is one time when I do totally believe everything they're telling me. Last comment is from Biscuit Butt. Joe, let's play a game. Does Joe have more buyers on his block list or combined rainy days since the inception of Joe's videos? Well, Biscuit Butt, I got a crap load of people blocked, all right? And I've also had a lot of rainy days. I started making my videos in 2007, so yeah, it would be a pretty close call, I would have to say. Now, let's talk about some new topics. First, some housekeeping. For those who don't know, Howard Lansdowne was the one that won the 1 to 50 subscriber giveaway. And Howard, I did get your email with your requests. I still have not acted on it, but I guarantee you I will do it very shortly. Just give me a couple of days. I'm hoping to get out Sunday and do a nice exploration video. It depends on the weather. I know exactly where I want to go, and it's a place that's going to be time sensitive. I mean, I really got to move on this before it's too late. So that's all the clues I'm going to give you on that. Even if I do get out Sunday to make the video, I'm not sure when I'm going to get it uploaded, because it's going to require me doing voiceovers and explaining what you're looking at. So yeah, let's talk about me contacting eBay the middle of the week. In last week's video, I told you guys this story about a bad buyer with zero feedback who joined eBay specifically to buy my item, got the item, and then filed a false item not as described claim, even though the item was described, like I said, with the scratch and all that. And this is something that Dennis Coppa and I think Ryan Glazer talked about, that we should always demand the item back and never give the person a free item. So I said to you guys in last week's video, I said, I will never let this buyer keep the item. I will pay the $15.96 out of my pocket, but I'll make sure I get the item back and I'll relist it. But I was going to make the guy wait to the very last day, which was going to be the 16th. Remember I said that? Okay, now, something unexpected happened. Not surprising, but unexpected over the weekend. Does anybody out there want to guess what happened to me again this weekend? I got an unwarranted neutral feedback. Not a negative, a neutral. I sold the guy some alloy wheel emblems. He got them, and the feedback he left was very nice items, but they're too small for my application. How is it my fault that this person doesn't read? I clearly had the measurements in the listing, and another person doesn't read and leaves me unwarranted neutral feedback. A few weeks ago, somebody wrote in on one of my videos and also on Facebook and asked me if I would contact eBay specifically to have a neutral feedback removed, and I answered in the negative, no, I wouldn't. But I decided I would call them Monday afternoon because now I've got two issues. One, I've got the neutral feedback, and two, I've got this, I'm going to have to call on a scammer, somebody who filed a false item not as described case. So I figure I can get two with one shot. I called up eBay Concierge. Well, I pressed the button that says, the link that says, have us call you back, and the wait time was stated as 2 minutes. They called me back in about 15 seconds. I got a really nice lady on the phone. This was a very unusual mix. She was extremely friendly, extremely knowledgeable, very nice, totally understood every single point I brought out to her. And the first thing we talked about was the neutral feedback. I showed her exactly what I just told you, and she agreed. She said, this person has no right to leave you this feedback. None whatsoever. You did nothing wrong. It clearly says the measurements in your listing. I'm removing this feedback right now. And she did. I said, great. I said, now I have one other issue that I'd like to present to you now, if I may. It's a person who filed a false item not as described case. And it's the only case I had open at the time, so she could look it up and look at it. I said, if you really want to chuckle, please take a look at the case, and you'll see he says the item is damaged, and he took a picture of the damage and added it to his claim. I said, now if you will please look at picture number 7 on my item, you will see I took the exact same picture. She took a look and she said, she actually busted out laughing. She said, this is unbelievable. She said, you described it perfectly. You even took a close-up picture of the damage. You did nothing wrong. This case shouldn't have been opened. However, there's nothing we can do, she said, as far as stopping people from abusing the system. The system is inherently written, I hate to say it, to actually foster and promote scamming by people who are predisposed to do that. The average person won't do it. The average eBay buyer is a good, likable, honest person, but I'm going to tell you right to your face, there are some bad people out there, and these people can find these loopholes like crazy, like a magnet to steal. Anyway, she says to me, there's something I can do for you because you're a top-rated seller and you accept 30-day returns. This goes to a comment that I just read recently on the sheet. Somebody else mentioned it. This is important, so I want you guys to pay attention to this. I'm not going to yell, pay attention, because I know some of you guys get really bent out of shape about that. And quite truthfully, I don't care that you do, but I'm just doing it because I'm in a kind mood. So anyway, she says to me, here's what I suggest I do. I will escalate this case right now, and I will find in favor of the buyer. However, the buyer will get a full refund and be allowed to keep the item, but the refund will not come out of your money, Joe, she says. eBay will give him a full refund out of their money, and we will let him keep the item. Now, okay, number one, I'm glad that I'm not losing any money on the deal. I don't have to pay return shipping, okay? And it does not count as a defect on my account. Nothing. All right? I don't get hurt a bit. The sale was made. I keep the money. The item is considered sold. One thing I'd like to point out is the buyer was allowed to keep the item. The problem with that, and I'm not really complaining and moaning per se because I got my money. That's what counts in the long run. Joe got his money, all right? The thing is, this buyer with zero feedback who joined eBay just to buy my item now says to himself, hey, I've stumbled on a gold mine. I can buy items on eBay, file fake, item not as described claims, and get to keep the item, get my money back. Now be honest, guys. Be honest. From the story I just told you, do you think that this bad buyer will try that again? Comments below, please. Me, I have a very strong suspicion that he will. What can be done about this, if anything? I think something could have been done about this and can be done, but the reps don't have the power to do it. In my case, the representative looked and saw that it was as described. What I think eBay should do is institute a policy, whereas if it happens once, the buyer gets a stern warning. Hey, you filed a fake item not as received, not as described claim. He had the right pictures, he had the right description. Shame on you. Don't do it again or you're going to lose your privileges. Everybody's allowed to one screw up. But then if he does it again, goodbye. Goodbye, Columbus. That's what I think should happen. That's my personal feeling. If you guys would like to expound on that, agree with it, disagree with it, or maybe give your own version of how they should be punished, because they should be punished. If they do it once, I feel they're going to do it again. I think you agree with that. Sales this week have been slower than usual, but I did have, I think, 2 or 3 really good days, so I'm very happy. But I also had 2 or 3 days that were a lot slower than they should have been. Remember, I don't want to get you guys nervous, but I'd be remiss if I didn't remind you about this. Next week is the most dreaded holiday of the year. There are good holidays and there are not so good holidays. And then all the way off to itself is this other one that I don't even want to say the name of it. All right, but it's Thursday, okay? It's Thursday. And it's such a bad day because you know people are not going to be buying online. So expect a much slower than usual week eBay-wise, okay? But once we get past that one, I mean, even Christmas, all right, it's going to slow down a little bit, but there will be some bargain hunters out there, but nothing comes as bad, nothing is as close to being as bad as this one coming up. I don't want to sound mean or nasty, but if I could go to bed Wednesday and take a pill and wake up Friday morning, I would do it. Yeah. By the way, I haven't mentioned it so far tonight, but this is the ceremonial Fox News Cup of Life. Happy is he who drinks from it. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching my video. I sure hope you found it helpful. Always remember the following. I'm Crazy New York Driver and you're not. Every Friday night I come out here and I make these videos to help you try to stay successful as an eBay seller. If you think I'm doing a good job, please leave me a thumbs up. It tells me I'm on point and appreciated. If you don't think I did a good job, tell me in the comment section what you want me to address and I'll try really hard to do it next week. Remember guys, I'm a seller friend, not a seller critic or skeptic of any kind. I've solved a lot of problems. I'm still making money online. I've never worn a mask on any of my videos, and I never will. I've never distorted my voice on my videos. I think that's dishonest, and I think it's unscrupulous. So heck yeah, I'm a CEO and a CFO of my own company. So that being said, guys, go out there, make a ton of money on eBay, rock on, and peace! For those of you guys who I've never shown this to before, this is my little digital camera that I take all of my eBay pictures with. Funny little story. Today I was at work and they were predicting partial sunshine in the morning, clouds rolling in the afternoon, and rain. So the way the sun was angled, there was no sun in my parking lot, but there was sun hitting the other side of the street that I work on. And if you remember the street I work on that's usually behind me, it's a freaking busy road. So what I did was I got a whole stack of caps I wanted to photograph, waited for a break in the traffic, and I had to run across to the other side of the street to this small patch of sunlight. And I laid my caps out and I started taking pictures. Then I had to pick them all back up, wait for another break in traffic across this busy road and run back across. And I said to myself, I shook my head in disbelief. And I said, I bet nobody else who sells on eBay has to chase a small ray of sunlight the way I have to. It's freaking nuts. But anyway, guys, enough. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys make a ton of money on eBay. I mean a lot. I hope you make a suitcase full of money on eBay. Thanks for watching, and please, for the love of God, don't be